This is $100,000, and it used to be the magic number. Everyone was thinking, if I could just clear $100,000 a year, I'd be rolling in the dough like a baker's knuckles. But with inflation and everything that's changed in the last few years, here's the question. Is it still the magic number? The benchmark of a six-figure income used to be the gold standard. It represents the tipping point of financially earning a disposable income and building savings and spending based on your wants, not just your needs. That's what Sabrina Romanoff, a clinical psychologist, told CNBC. The perception of a $100,000 salary has indeed changed over the years. While it was once considered a benchmark for financial success, it may not provide the same level of comfort or financial security today. Per CNBC, more than half, 52% of Americans say they would need at least $100,000 a year to feel financially comfortable, with 26% saying that they would need a salary in the range of $100,000 to $149,000 per year. According to Payments Intelligence, 62% of U.S. consumers now live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes 48% of consumers earning more than $100,000 annually. So just think about that. We literally have half of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck that are actually clearing over $100,000 a year. You might be wondering what happened. Well, it turns out there's 5 reasons why $100,000 is no longer the gold standard. Number 1, and maybe one of the most obvious, is inflation. It's a huge key factor that erodes the purchasing power of money over time. Some people are a little confused at what inflation really means, but here's what it is. This is $100,000, but over the last 100 years, it's averaged a loss of 3.1% every single year. That basically means that, here's a $100 bill. It means that in the next 12 months, on average, it's now going to buy $97 worth of goods. And the year after, it's only going to buy $94 worth of goods. And after the third year, it's now down to around $91 for what used to be $100 3 years prior. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, you'd have to earn today $129,000 to have the same purchasing power of a salary of $100,000 just 1 decade ago. Just as scary as the stat that $1 million is not what it used to be. Literally $1 million in 1993 would be equivalent to needing $2,070,000 today to have identical buying power. That's all just happened in the last 3 decades. You may have been alive 3 decades ago, and it's wait a second, I need more than $2 million today to be equivalent 30 years ago of what $1 million was? On top of that, the typical US household needed to pay $213 more each month in January just to purchase the same goods and services that it did 1 year ago. The second reason why $100,000 is just not cutting it is cost of living. The cost of living, which includes expenses like housing, food, healthcare, and more, they've all been rising. Americans are paying on average $605 more each month for groceries compared to the same time 2 years ago, and $1,019 more compared to 3 years ago, per the New York Press. This means that a $100,000 salary in a city like New York just doesn't go as far as it would be in a city with a lower cost of living, which might be why last year over 600,000 people left the state of New York. And where were they going? They were going to places with cheaper cost of living. Here's the third reason why $100,000 is just not enough. Student debt. Many younger generations are starting their careers with significant student debt. The financial burden can make a $100,000 salary feel less substantial, especially when a large portion of it goes towards loan payments. College graduates are overestimating their starting salaries by $30,000 per CNBC, and what a disappointment it must be when they exit college and all of a sudden they're getting paid $30,000 less. And 46% of Gen Z doesn't even think college is worth the cost. Here's a fourth reason why $100,000 is not enough. Stagnant wages are the fourth reason why $100,000 is not enough. While the cost of living and inflation has been rising, wage growth has not actually kept up. For example, American families had a median income of around $76,000 in today's currency in 1980, but the average dropped to about $71,000 as of 2021. Eliza Gold, senior economist at Economic Policy Institute, states that the wages haven't kept up with the cost of living for the last 50 years, making it increasingly hard for many families to attain middle-class lifestyle. So during Leave It to Beaver times in the 1950s, literally one person went to work and that could take care of the entire family. By the 90s, you needed at least 2 incomes, and today, There's a lot of families that aren't even making it with a dual income. And then the fifth and final reason why $100,000 is not enough is because of changing lifestyles and expectations. The modern lifestyle often includes expenses that were not as common in the past, such as technology, higher education, healthcare costs. Additionally, societal expectations for what constitutes a comfortable lifestyle may have evolved, further pushing the goalpost way beyond that $100,000 a year salary. It's time that we actually started thinking differently. Like if you subscribe on my channel, we talk a lot about, hey, don't just save and accumulate money. It's time to start investing money. The American dream now costs $3.455 million. That is the estimated lifetime cost of common milestones, including marriage, 2 children, homes, healthcare, cars, education. The average lifetime earnings of Americans across all education levels, however, is only $2.3 million. Which basically means we're falling short of the milestones that we want to live at, and that's before we actually save money for our future and for retirement, which is why the majority of people, when they actually get to retirement, they're dead broke. The good news is that as awful as all that is, it's actually very easy to turn the situation around. You've got to stop being a consumer. You've got to stop basically doing what everyone else in society is doing, which means that bottom line, you're never going to have enough money. But instead, if you actually learn how to take that 401k, that IRA, or equity in a home and start investing, you can actually multiply your money and then actually have more than enough money to meet all of your needs. To accomplish this, you're going to want a custom game plan. And that is where me, Kris Krohn, a multimillionaire, sits in your shoes and says, yo, if I were you, I would make some of these changes and I would do some of these things. And if you did, you could wind up with X millions of dollars in the next 5 years or 15 years. And if you'd like a game plan like that, if you'd like to get my perspective, then reach out to my expert team by clicking the link below, submit your information, and then we're going to be in touch with you and give you a custom game plan showing you exactly what it's going to take to basically get out of society's way and forge your own financial future. Click the link below. We'll get you that game plan for free. Okay, Kris, you're talking about accessing my 401k for this investing, whatever that is, but there's taxes and there's penalties, and I've always been told my whole life that I either can't touch it or I shouldn't touch it. So what do I do? Well, actually, there's 5 different steps of how you actually access a 401k, and if you want to know how to do it, click right here. Let me show you how.